Hi, guys, and welcome back to another amazing episode of Crypto Scoop FM. And today we're going to do a deep dive into the abstract ecosystem. I think it's going to be one of the big winners in the upcoming bull run. And there are a bunch of really amazing projects and tokens that are brewing on this chain that you ought to pay attention to. But I feel the number one most important thing that you need to know abstract is the story of its founder, Luca Netz. So, guys, if you are new here, I'm your host, DJN RSC, aka Rohit. I've spent the last 4 years in crypto in multiple roles as an exec across companies like Polygon Labs, Socket Network, and Longhash Ventures. So it's been exciting because that has given me a front row seat into exploring crypto in a way which is very personal and close to my heart, right? So I bring you these unfiltered takes. Of course, I'm a very small channel, so if you want to give me a support, go ahead and smash that like button. As always, before we jump into the show, nothing that I say is financial advice, so please take everything, all the insights that I'm going to share with you with a pinch of salt. I'm just a guy sitting in his room making these videos. So with that, let's dive in. The reason why I thought of making a video on abstract today is because this one tweet actually just caught my attention, where this dude, just casually tweeted that abstract is quietly winning 66 million in bridged deposits, up 34% year to date. 12 code devs working on this project full time, and 29 code commits in the last 30 days. Most L2s are shouting, abstract is building. Real growth isn't loud, it compounds in silence, right? And so I kind of just went ahead and started thinking, kind of diving into the project more and more. And I thought, what better way to start this story than with the founder of Pudgy of Abstract and Pudgy Penguins, Luca Netz. So Luca Netz, popularly known as Luca Netz, his real name is of course Luca Schnetzler, and he had a very challenging upbringing. You know, growing up, he had no security. His mom was, technically not a definition of somebody who's coming from a very strong financially well-to-do family. And that is how his early psyche was shaped. So when he was actually 16 years old, I was reading that he dropped out of high school. Like, how many of us actually have the guts to do that, right? And dropping out of high school, he got an opportunity to work with a startup which was eventually acquired by Amazon. And back then, he was just a guy who was part of the logistics team packing boxes. But that one experience working in that early stage startup switched it switched something in his head. And that was the time then when he decided, okay, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And he started dabbling into all of these different e-commerce drop shipping ideas. And believe it or not, guys, pure magic, pure rags to riches. But within 5 years, from 16 to 21, selling like stuff like fidget spinners and phone cases, can you imagine? He made his first $1 million, right? So he was also during this phase kind of criticized for his aggressive selling marketing tactics. But like, hey guys, if business is war, everything is fair in love and war, isn't it? So with that, don't forget to smash that like button because I have packed alpha for you guys. Packed alpha. Anyhow, he saw an interesting opportunity in 2021. If you remember, that was the last bull run when everything was going crazy, and of course the big focus area was non-fungible tokens or NFTs. You had a project like Bored Ape Yacht Club backed by Yuga Labs making it to the scene with the free mint, and everybody just went crazy in this space about them. And suddenly NFTs were all the rage. So right around then, there was this other somewhat unknown collection trying to make it. It was called Pudgy Penguins. And so in 2022, he acquired Pudgy Penguins, which was kind of struggling back in the day. And I was looking at the price chart. I wanted to see what struggling really means. So in 2022, he acquired when it was almost at its all-time low, valued at like less than 1 ETH, right? So this is when Luca Netz acquired, and you can see just around the time he acquired, the price just went there. You see these little two pink ticks going all the way to like, I think what's five ETH. And since then it kind of, went slow, gradually grew, went to 7.5. Then again, you had the crypto winter kicking in. But yeah, since early 2024, late 23, the Pudgy Penguins collection has consistently acquired new users, new valuation. And part of the reason is because Luca Netz is such a skilled entrepreneur. He understands the psyche of the consumer so very well that one of the big deals that he was able to do is to put every Pudgy Penguin as a collectible on every Walmart store out there. Not just Walmart, like he expanded into broader retail as well. And he is the first guy who really understands the true power that IP can unlock, powered by the blockchains, right? So that's basically the story of Pudgy Penguins. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on Pudgy Penguins, but then later in time, he announced the launch of the Abstract chain in January 5, and the entire thesis of Abstract chain can be put into two words, guys: consumer crypto. Now, consumer crypto is a term which is thrown around in crypto quite a lot. And I can tell you this from my personal experience, because back when I was at Polygon, one of the big grant programs that I had designed in late 2024 was around funding consumer crypto projects on building on the Polygon blockchain. So, imagine this. These are things which basically use an NFT and some kind of a mobile app to bring this all together and create some kind of unique experiences for users. This could be a game, this could be a trading application. Like Pump Fun is consumer crypto manifest in one way, right? But you have other projects as well, like anything in the social layer, in the app layer that you can imagine that kind of goes beyond trading is all consumer crypto. So that's what their like big focus was. Now, in terms of what has happened on Abstract is also an interesting story. I was looking at on-chain data, and in terms of fees, while they're making about like $15,000 on average on a single day, you can see there are days when fee spikes to like 40-50,000. So clearly they're in a very early stage of building a business model around Abstract. So they're able to accrue all of those fees, but I'm not sure exactly how and when that will unpack, right? If you look at user data, however, it's kind of interesting. Like in terms of daily active users, they have, it kind of fluctuates anywhere between, when they launched and the whole live streaming feature was brought in by Abstract, which is exactly what Pump Fun is trying to copy right now. Shame on you, Pump. Shame on you. Anyways, I hate Pump, guys, so I keep plugging in my hatred for Pump every now and then. And by the way, if you haven't seen my video on the demise of Pump Fun that I had predicted on day one of its ICO, you can watch the video right here. Anyways, coming back to the video. So Abstract, I think they're still in that phase where they're discovering, who they are, what are the kind of products that they want to build in the market. But it's very clear that unlike other chains, which have a big focus on decentralized finance, they have a big focus on trading, they have a big focus on RWAs and all of those kind of things. It's very clear to me that Abstract does not want to take that direction. It's an extremely lean team, just like 10 to 12 devs working for it. And they are now teams who are essentially, the core focus or value proposition for Abstract is going to be figuring out ways to unlock intellectual property on chain and combine it with artificial intelligence to then create like derivative works of it. And it could be in the form of whatever, guys. It could be games, it could be movies, it could be music, it could be merchandise or whatever. And I think, guys, I really think we're on the ground floor of something big. I'm not saying this because I'm a fan of Luca Netz. Of course, I respect him as an individual. I think he has done amazingly brilliant, fantastic stuff in the markets. But the cool thing about Abstract is he really understands the consumer psyche in a way that none of the chains do. While most of the other chains are run by brainiacs and technical people, this is one chain which is run by a guy who understands business and who understands e-commerce, who understands the consumer side of things. What more proof do you want that a small NFT collection was able to ink a deal with one of the largest retail distribution powerhouses in the world, Walmart? So that gives you a sense of the strategy around Abstract, right? So when I show you these numbers, take them in the context of where they are in their story. Like, it's a young growth startup, and young growth startups exhibit young growth startup metrics. So those are their active users. Daily transactions kind of mimic their active users, right? When there is a spike in active users, you will see a spike in transactions. When there is a decline in transactions, you will see a general decline in active users. But broadly, I think it's hovering anywhere between 400 to 700, maybe even a million. It topped at 1.5 million, but this was the whole, live feed thing coming in. People were expecting they will start participating and essentially, get themselves ready for an airdrop. So in any case, I think these are the numbers speak what they do, and that's where they are. I was also looking at the bridge deposits. I think a key number, because it's important to see how much capital are they able to attract from Ethereum and other chains. And you can see that this number is actually up and steadily building up. So, if the first couple of months was around stabilizing at around the 30 million levels, it says it has then kind of upped its game from 30 to 40, and now it's kind of peaking past 50, and now it's almost 60, 70, it's even touching 70. So you can see that money is flowing, albeit not at the speed that you would want, but this is good progress, guys. This is good progress that indicates to me that Abstract will eventually get to that point where you have that tipping point for something to kind of go ballistic. That's exactly where Abstract is right now, guys. So don't fade Abstract. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be one of the best performers. Now let's talk about the holy grail of Abstract. And in many different ways, I think the Pengu token is the manifestation of the collective belief of what Abstract and Luca Netz really stands for. Because with Pengu, he was able to enrich a very wide community. And I know back in the day, there was this conversation when Pengu actually launched that, hey, you're launching your own chain. Why not drop the token on Abstract? But I think it was a banger move, guys. I think it was a banger move not to do it on Abstract, but instead do it on Solana. Why? Solana has the largest frigging distribution. Solana does more transactions in a day than all the other, than Ethereum and all the L2s combined. Solana has the highest number of daily active users. Every point on the consumer playbook, Solana is check, check, check. Don't underestimate that. The second thing, what you see in this chart is people who were extremely excited about Pengu this, Pengu that, since all of those folks are out, right? Which is great, because now you have the real deal. People who started acquiring Pengu at these prices knew something. And they were rewarded for their conviction, because you can already see it went from like nothing, almost a nothing burger, from 500 million to 2.7 billion. That's a 6x, almost 6x, guys. And now, even after this little correction that has happened in the last couple of 4-5 days, it could not go beyond 2 billion, guys. So this for me is a new level where liquidity is strong, where people were not willing to sell their Pengu tokens. And that's great, guys, because they anticipate this is going to go even higher. In fact, I was listening to one of the podcasts by Murad, and Murad is such a passionate speaker about meme coins, about tokenized cult and religion. And I honestly never thought he will speak about anything ever other than SPX 6900. And I was surprised. I was taken aback when he said Pengu is going to be one of the best performing tokens of 2025 and this cycle. And guys, I believe him. I believe him because he's gone through 4 market cycles. He understands communities. He understands cultish behavior. And I feel like the Pengu cult is stronger than almost any other crypto cult out there. So the proof is in the pudding. I think the Pengu chart says it all about where Abstract is in terms of attention and mindshare. And I've always told you, right, that in crypto, the majority of value is driven not by fundamentals, but by memetics. Because memetics is the only way you can explain the 30 freaking billion dollar valuation of Cardano. Memetics is the only way you can justify the valuation of XRP, which I don't know, it's the top 3 coins, so probably more than 300 or 400 billion dollars. There is no other way, because if you go look at their fundamentals right now, you will be surprised that there's hardly any stablecoin velocity. There are hardly any daily active users. There are hardly any DeFi ecosystem. There are hardly any devs adopting that chain. So if there is nothing existing on that chain, what explains the valuation? The gap can only be explained by memetics, which is why I always say projects like Pengu are ready. They're ready right now. They're sitting at the cusp of exploding, guys. And so, Pengu is the biggest proof for me today that Abstract is going to be one of the top 10 chains in the years to come in terms of market cap. I should make this note clear that Abstract does not have a token. So don't be fooled trying to search for an Abstract token. And if you find something, it's clearly a fraud. But there are ecosystem tokens deployed on top of the Abstract chain that could be very interesting value capture opportunities. Also remember, the great thing about participating in a pre-token chain is that the more you transact, the more social proof you build, and the more social proof you build, the bigger will be your airdrop. So I think it's a win-win for you, because A, you're getting on the ground floor of a project which is ready to take into this huge consumer crypto opportunity. The IP opportunity, it has the partnerships in place, it has the distribution in place, and most importantly, it has a founder who has a vision. I can only literally count the number of people in the crypto industry who actually have a big vision and a very clear vision on how to get there. And Luca is definitely one of them. Okay, so very quickly, I also want to show you now a bunch of different projects which I found were interesting. Now, if you go look at the top abstract ecosystem coins, and I'm going to leave the link to this category page of CoinGecko in my video. But if you just scroll down, the first one you see is obviously Pengu. Now, Pengu token is deployed both on Solana and Abstract chain. It's up to you where you want to buy it. I think Solana is kind of better at this place because it has much deeper liquidity. So I would highly recommend that you hold the Pengu token. I feel like holders of Pengu token, irrespectively of which chain they're on, are definitely going to be recipients of the Abstract token whenever it is announced. So it's a good idea to hold Pengu token, especially at the current price of 2.2 billion, where it is trading right now, which is, on a market price basis is what, how much? About 0.03 cents. I think it's a steal deal, guys, because we haven't seen the parabolas happen yet. If you think this is a parabola, you haven't seen nothing yet, because I implore you to go out there and explore the Shiba Inu chart, explore the Doge chart. Guys, that is what's gonna happen to Pengu. And if anybody is going to tell you, is telling you otherwise, is a fool or simply doesn't want to see you succeed. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be an incredibly strong performer. There are, what is it that you want to look at when you're looking at this community, right? So let me quickly go to holder scan and I'll show you some data around Pengu. And you will see, as soon as I search for Pengu, there are 567,000 holders for Pengu, guys. That's not little. That's not little in any sense. That's huge, guys. And okay, let's see how the data unpacks. You can already see, guys, green candles after green candles. If I scroll further down, you will see 143 addresses holding more than $1 million worth of Pengu, right? You will see the holder to unique wallet address ratio is approximately 30%, which I think is a pretty decent number if you think about it. Like, their holder count is about 567 versus 1.8 million unique wallet addresses, which basically interacted with the Pengu address, which I think is a decent number. And the great part, something that I always look for, is what's the spread, like how distributed the token. And you can already see, like, the majority of distribution is at the $10 and $50 levels, which shows me a broad base of community members who are part of this. Because they are putting in their money, they're expecting that crazy upside, and they are ready to work for free for the community. So again, proof that Pengu has great distribution. Abstract has great distribution. Even if the on-chain numbers are not reflecting that right now, don't get confused by on-chain distribution, by fundamental metrics against memetics. Very strong memetics, guys. What more proof do you want? This is on-chain data, right? So I think Pudgy, top of my list. Another one, and this is something that my friend has been recommending me for the longest time. In fact, he first told me about this when this was trading at about $6 or $5 million. And like an idiot, I was just, you know what I do? Every time somebody recommends a token to me, I just copy the contract address, I go to text screener, and I just put it there in one of my like multi chart viewers. And since then, I've been looking at this meme coin, and I'm seeing it grow. In fact, beyond Pudgy's Apto is actually the primary, it is the meme coin of the Abstract platform, right? So if you have missed the Pudgy board, I highly recommend that you look at Apto as your second choice if you think that's too expensive, or if you want to bet on a slightly more degen bet around Abstract chain. Apto is your bet, right? This is the one that I would recommend. Now, the third one that I want to recommend to you is Poly. That if I had a choice between Apto, Pengu, and Poly, I'd probably be comfortable putting my money into all three of them. The reason being very, very simple. Abstract as a chain is focused on IP. Abstract as a chain is focused on creating new characters, and these characters would then have their own merge. They will have their own digital twins. They will have their own distribution. They will have their own communities. They will have their own thing going on, which is an entire ecosystem. And when you think about ecosystems like this, like imagine Disney in your head. Is Disney running on one character? No, Disney has hundreds and hundreds of characters. So these things that you are looking at on chain right now are essentially the first underpinnings of this IP character evolution wave, which is why I think this is also very, very interesting. I think it's currently trading at about 11 million, which is nothing when it comes to memes. You know how they go parabolic, right? And it hasn't even gone parabolic. We've seen some corrections. So it went from almost nothing to 8 million, fell to 2 million, so that's what, an 80% correction. Then it went to 6 million, dropped to 4 million, about 25% correction. Went to 9 million, dropped to 7.6 million, about 10-15% correction. And since then, it's kind of been moving around the 10-11 mark levels, despite whatever little drop that happened over the weekend. It only could come down to 10 million, guys. Just shows you how strong the Pengu, the Abstract meme ecosystem community is. So the third token that I would recommend that you keep on your watch list is Poly. Now, another one that I want to talk about is Frostech. Now, Frostech is not a meme coin, right? This is this is an AI bet on Abstract. And what Frostech allows you to do is it offers you this platform where you can create character IPs, right? So basically what you can do is you can go from character creation to activation and monetization, and you can do it across various platforms and audiences. A long story short, what you can do is you can create different characters. You can use those characters or your IP, whatever IP that you hold, to create a digital twin, and you can use that digital twin to then create, I don't know, different things. It could be a chatbot. It could be stickers that you can sell on Telegram. It could be you can give your character out on rent to create merch. Any kind of monetization that you can think of that Abstract could do with their own, Pudgy, is what you can do by creating characters on Frostech. So I think as a platform play, as an AI play, this is very, very interesting. It aligns very well with Abstract's overall thesis. And so if I go look at the project right now, it's freaking trading at 3.3 million FTV. I mean, come on. Look at this chart, guys. These are the kind of charts that I look for. Why do I look for these kind of charts? Because it shows me right now the community is sleeping on it. And the community won't sleep on it for long, guys. When they recognize the power of these projects, they will freaking explode. So Frostech, guys, no brainer at this time for me. So that is basically, a wrap on today's episode. I hope you had good fun. That's the thesis with Abstract, guys. Tell me in the comment section what you thought about my thesis. Did you enjoy it or not? And with that, it's a wrap. I will see you once again on the next episode. Ta-da.